today's product spotlight, we're going over our drain plug offerings we're coming out with for the 6.7 Power Stroke, which includes coolant, engine oil, and diff and trans options. All right, guys, let's start with the oil drain plug for the 6.7. So on the factory oil pan and our oil pan that we make, the cast pans, we utilize the same threads. So that's one of the nice features. We keep it so that you can use either a factory drain plug in our pan or our aftermarket style. So we do take a lot of constructive criticism from you guys. We had a lot of requests on magnets. We'll go over the difference in the magnets versus other things available. In the drain plug, everyone asked to add a magnet to the tip so that it could catch debris in the oil. The current stainless version of this plug that we have obviously is not magnetic because it's stainless steel. So what we did is we took the same exact plug and we modified the end of it. We changed the material to a zinc coated steel and we press a neodymium magnet into the end of it. So on the magnet aspect of things, we did not use a ceramic magnet. It's very common in a drain plug. A ceramic magnet's almost it's a darker looking material, crumbles very easily. It's just not a really good magnet. The neodymium rare earth magnets have basically like a chrome shell on them. They're very durable. You're not gonna have to worry about them breaking or crumbling. And they're also extremely strong. So, I mean, you can see that's a ratchet there. I mean, it's a very strong magnet. So what we did is we took the same exact plug that we already had. And as I said, we machined the end, changed the material, changed it to zinc coat. Now, you may ask, why would we change something we were already selling? Well, first off, you guys asked for the magnet. I have a love-hate relationship with the idea, because what happens is if you have somebody that isn't changing their oil a lot and you have a lot of micro particles in the engine that are steel, you know, you got little dust fragments as rings wear in, bearings wear in. It's just normal over time. So what'll happen is if you're running really long duration, say on your oil change, that's gonna ball up on the end of this magnet and potentially chunks of that could come off at some point. So if you're building up a lot of debris on it and then you get the oil sloshing, whether you're driving or going down a bumpy road or whatever, that material can come dislodged and you could have a mass amount of crap basically go up through your oil pickup, and then it's got to go through the oil pump, then through the filter. So all that debris, if it makes it past the wide mesh that's on the oil pump pickup, it will go into the oil pump. It could potentially hurt the gears and the gerotor. There's a lot of ups and downs to doing it either way. So if you're gonna run the magnet and you're changing your oil at a normal maintenance time, then you're probably gonna be fine. You know, if you're changing it and your duration for your oil changes is a normal duration, say 3,000 to 5,000 miles, and you're taking this plug out and wiping off, you're not gonna have that kind of problem. But if you're one of these crazy people running oil bypasses and all this other stuff so that you can push your AMSOIL to 20,000 miles, I don't think I'd recommend this because you're gonna get a lot of debris on it. But if you're doing normal intervals, the magnet's great. It'll work fine. It'll collect. As I stated, this is a very powerful magnet, and I'm gonna grab something heavier to just kind of show you that. All right, so you got a pretty good size 3/4 inch socket here. That's pretty heavy. This picks it up no problem. So you can see how much weight that can actually pick up. It's a pretty strong magnet. It'll do the job. So it's a love-hate thing for us. It's gonna be personal preference. So we're gonna continue selling the stainless version. We're gonna continue selling, obviously, the steel version with the magnet in the end. So it's going to be a personal preference thing. Get the one that you think works best for you. Obviously, we're not epoxying these magnets in. We're actually pressing them in, and it's a steel bolt, so you don't have to worry about it coming out. It'll stay in there. It's a nice design. One thing I do want to touch on is on the oil drain plug, it is actually a 3/8 drive as well as a 19 mil. So, which is nice in the aspect of not having to remember the wrench size when you go under to do the oil change on your truck. You already know it's a 3/8 ratchet. So works out really well. It's some of the small things like that that really pay off whenever you're working on your vehicle. And we always like to do that when we can for you guys. So we're also offering a line of NPT style ones for our transmission pans and the differential covers. If you like the idea of the magnet, now we got that option. So I want to touch on the fact that we actually listen with the constructive criticism that you guys give us in the comments and the stuff that you tell our salesmen and we talk about on the internet. You know, we listened. Now you got your magnet. We wanted to do that for you guys because we had a lot of people asking. The other thing we're going to touch on is the coolant drain valve that is on the 6.7. So on the 6.7 Power Stroke or the Super Duty trucks, you're going to have a plastic drain valve in the radiator. And you also have it not just in the primary radiator, but also the secondary. So the primary rad, depending on the year truck, it's covering basically the engine. In the earlier models, it covers the engine only. In the 17 plus models, you're covering the trans and the engine. And then the secondary systems covering intercooler, fuel cooler, what else? Intercooler, fuel cooler, trans cooler in the earlier models, all covered by the secondary system. So what we see with these is there is a twisted ear on the end of this, and there's guide pins that are molded into the radiator. So there are little tangs inside the radiator where they're little guide pins that this is clearly going to follow this transition, which being that it's an angled transition, it'll actually pull the plug in, twist, lock in, and then you have an O-ring seal. In theory, it's great. They work awesome, but there are issues with it. So one of the main issues, so it works very well, but there are some common issues with it. Being that it's plastic, they get brittle over time. It's easy to get them to gald because they're plastic. So the tips of them will end up breaking and then they won't actually follow in nicely. Sometimes you'll have to jam them in there and hope they stay. They're brittle, they can break easily. So the other issue is when they do gald and they get stuck in the end tank, you have a really hard time actually getting them to twist to break them free. So we've had situations where we'll cut sockets and other things that we can get over the flat end of this so that we can actually get on it to twist it, because where you have to reach in to grab these, it's really hard to get on them, especially the secondary rad. You're coming in from basically the front bumper side. This is very difficult to get on. So as always, we had a problem and we wanted to find a solution for it and give you guys something really solid. So we did a billet version. We changed some of the issues with the plastic one, which were the helix at the end. We actually added a little bit of material. It's kind of hard to see here, but there's material added to the end to make it a little bit stronger. You'll be able to see on the back side of that piece there, there's a little bit of an added brace. And what that does, it gives you a little more material to hold on to, and it makes it stronger. The other thing that we did is we left the tangs as the factory one so that you can still get a nice grip on it, but we also put a 1/4-inch ratchet drive in the end. So on the front one, being the bumper is right here for the secondary rad, this thing sits about right here. So you can just get your hand in to grab it. But if you need to get something else on it to get it out, like pliers or something like that, it's a huge pain in the butt without pulling the grill off and other things in the truck. So what we did is we put a 1/4-inch drive in there. It's a really snug fit, just enough that you can get the tip of the 1/4-inch drive ratchet in there. And then it's a nice snug fit, so it won't be all wobbling around. It'll once you get it started in there, it's nice and snug. And then obviously righty tighty, lefty loosey. And then you'll be able to feel it stop, and there's actually recesses, just like the plastic one. There's an embossment that sticks out for the recess in the tank, and it'll actually indicate and grab in. So these will come with new O-rings on them. So you will not have to reuse the old one. The one thing we are doing is we're doing them in a set. So you'll get the primary and the secondary radiator plugs in a set. So you'll get 2 to replace the factory ones. If you have questions on this product, whether it's what does it fit, what does it go on, we're more than happy to help you out. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you guys think about it. Hopefully you like that we're listening to you and we're getting some products out that you guys actually really want. And yeah, if you like the video, hit the thumbs up. If you want to catch more of this stuff and the videos that we do on the Ford products as we go on, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.